Hello everybody, this is Lilla in Hawaii. It's a Sunday and I'm messing around in my attic studio doing some painting and I'm doing some sewing and some funky things. Anyway, I thought I'd show you this because I have had a lot of compliments on it, though this is the craziest thing. This is a shower cap, believe it or not. It's a shower cap. And the reason for it is I belong to a swim group and we do Zumba in the water. And we have a little challenge every week, every Monday. And last Monday it was make or wear a shower cap in the water. It could be as crazy as you liked. It could be a plastic cap. I bought one. I didn't have time to buy one, so I decided to make one. A friend gave me this fabric. It's kind of a nice purple organza sort of material. And so I cut a big circle. I'm going to show you how to make the flower. But the cap was just as much fabric as I had, and it was like half a yard. And I cut a big circle. Then I sewed, and forgive the sewing because this was done in 5 minutes. I sewed hat elastic inside first. I zigzagged over the hat elastic, pulled it up to fit my head. And I'm not going to show you on me how it looks. People say I look cute in it. Anyway, and then I added another frill. I had some other sort of remnants, so I pieced them together and made a strip and gathered it up and sewed that on as an extra frill or flounce around the edge. That kind of gives it like a mop cap look. And then I decided I wanted to put a wild flower in the center, so I made this flower with a bell in the center of it. And I had a little bit more of the fabric, so I made a tie, sort of a leaf thing at the back. And I'm going to show you how you make the flower because people kind of liked it and said, how did you do that? And it's really crazy. I really just went to my scrap box and picked out 4 fabrics and I put them together. Here's another one. This one's smaller. Any which way, and then made the flower. And the more you wash it, I've swum with this on twice now, and so it frays more, so that's really neat. And you want that frayed look, but in order to fray it more, every time I see it, I pick it up and give it another rub. And before I fray it, I usually spray it with some water, or sometimes some spray starch works nicely. Here's another one I made. This one I made with the pastel colors. Doesn't have the impact. I like the bright colors. I put a bead in the center instead of the bell in that one. So I am going to go ahead and show you the trick for making it. And it's so simple. It's crazy. The first thing you want to do, though, is you do want to cut your circles out for the flower, and you want a base, and this started off as a 4-inch square, so that's the base. Then the next one is a little bit smaller, the next one's a little bit smaller, and this one's going to be a Halloween style, and then this is going to be the last one. And I thought I'd show you how I cut a circle. It's not a perfect circle, but it's pretty good. So you fold the square in half, you fold it in quarters, you probably know this, and then you cut it from that fold to those folds in an arc. So like that, and then when you open it up, you've got a circle. Now I want to check, and as far as I'm concerned, that's pretty good, but it's hiding the one underneath, so what I'm going to do is layer them like that because I want this one to be on top. The next thing is you are going to cut little divots, little bits inside the 3 of them, almost to the center. Not the back one. Leave that like that. You don't cut that one. So the first one, the top, and usually to make the cutting go faster, I fold in half once, and then I cut. And you want the cuts done separately so that each one is a bit different when you put it together. You don't want to stack them all, in other words. At least I don't. Okay, so that's the first one. I've cut that. And then this next one, the red, orange. I did those fairly wide apart. This one I may do a little closer together. You see that? I'm still struggling with my left hand where I had the carpal tunnel surgery. It's not doing so well. It's still quite numb, so I have a hard time holding these things. So if I wobble around, that's why. Okay, so that's the second one. You can see those little cuts are a little different. This is going to go on top. No, wait on, that's not going to go on. Yep, that's right. And then this is the last one. I'm going to cut this one as well. And you can cut them when they're sewn, but much easier to do it this way. I like to make flowers, and I'm always coming up with new ways of doing them. This was probably one of the quickest. Okay, so now I've got the plain, and then I've got, I'm going to turn it that way, I've got that orange first, then I'm going to put this orange next, and then this is the top. And as I said, the motto for this is Halloween. So next I'm going to get needle with double thread. Where am I here? Needle with double thread, and all you do is you sew across right in the center. Come from underneath, go down. You're making rather a large, like 3/4 of an inch the cross will be. Then come up there, and you're going to go down there. That's it. So there's a cross sewn. You can probably just pull that a bit tighter at the back. Okay, so I can show you at the back. Even though it's a cross on the front, it looks like that on the back. So there's a cross, and I know on this you can't see it. The next thing is to pull that up as tight as you can. Just as tight as you can. Hold it like that, real tight. Don't go through all the layers because that'll alter the configuration. Just fasten it off right where the needle came out, so you're not messing with the other gathering parts. Because if you do, it won't be right when it's opened up. Okay, so then cut off the thread. Leave a little bit so it doesn't come undone. Okay, so now I'm going to open it up. Of course, it's like this now. Now, the next thing I do is I take a pair of scissors and I go like this around the outside edge, sort of to fray this is the bottom layer I'm trying to fray. So just fray it a bit more. Doesn't matter if you catch the other layers. Whatever layers are there, you just fray them as much as you can. And just keep going. The more you wash this, as I say, the more frayed it gets. That's if you use cotton fabric. Of course, if you use some other kind of fabric, the result will be different. And then you can also pick up some of the parts of these pieces and give them a pull. The petals, I guess you'd call these. And I just usually do that, and then I give it a bit of a do that. And if I've missed any places that need a bit more fraying, like there, could use a bit. And because this is cut on, it's all on the bias, so it's not going to fray like something cut on the straight of grain. Okay. Now next I'm going to wet it. And this is that ironing spray. Just water with fragrance and stuff. And I like to make it nice and wet. And I have lavender in this too, so it just smells delicious. Then I go ahead and I roll it some more. As I said, the more you sort of do this, the more crazy it becomes. Then I find the center because I'm going to sew my little bell in there now. And of course you have to pull out the pieces that have got trapped underneath when you've rolled it around your hand. So just sort of straighten it out a little bit, not too much. You won't have time to see how it looks dried, unfortunately, but I did show you the other samples. What else is it? Okay, let's see here. Okay, now I'm going to get my bell. Now I did find out with bells that you have to really sew it quite a few times through or double your thread because because it's metal, it cuts the thread. So I'm not going to take time to double it, but I'm going to sew on the next thing, which is the bell. You could tie it on with some twine or something. I'll go through twice. As I said, tends to cut it if you're not careful. So don't pull it too tight. Also, if you want it to really jingle nicely, it's better if you don't tie it on too tight. Because the looser it is, the more it jingles. You probably know that. Okay, so I've got that on the back. I know this is kind of a crazy thing. Probably wondering what I'm up to. But I have to wear my shower cap tomorrow night, which is Monday again. Get more use out of it so it'll get more frayed. People like it. It looks great in the water, I'm told. I haven't seen pictures of it in the water, but they say it looks great. Okay, now I finish it off by putting something at the back of it. Either some organza or something, but I didn't have anything like that. And because it's Halloween, I just tied a little bow with some scrap fabric, and I'm just going to, and I don't know whether you know, but if you pull it, you can curl it like that. Can you see that? You pull it along one edge, actually. It just gives it a little bit of a curl. Okay, and I'm going to sew that on the back. Let me see, where do I want that? Okay. You can't see the bow part of it because I made it too, probably made it a bit too small, the loops. I wanted them to show a little bit. So I'm going to see if I can pull one out a little bit more like that. I'm just going to try and curl this a little. And I think if I sew this a little bit down, that's what I'll do. So I'm going to come a little bit down here. I'm not going to sew it right in the center, in other words. Now it would look better with a bigger piece of fabric, but this was the only scrap I had handy, so. Oh, come on. Where am I? Okay, here I am. Now you could glue this when it's dry. Right now it's wet, so it's a little bit tricky. But anyway. That should do it. Now I'd probably get some twine and something else to hang down below as well. Anyway, there is... oh my goodness. I think that needs to come over that way more. Anyway, I'll play with that later. Anyway, there's the Halloween flower, the funky flower for Halloween, right there. And as I say, once you scrunch it more, wet it more, rub it more, take it to swimming with you, go and do Zumba with it in your hair, be just great. And where I live, people like to, do little games and little treats like this. They think it's kind of fun. So the pool is very festive. There's always something going on, some new theme. But I like these, and I think this Halloween one has turned out pretty nice, I must say. Anyway, I'll just pick up my other items. Well, this was one. Hasn't frayed enough yet. This was one that was done pastel, which I don't really care for. This is the famous shower cap. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.